morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss pre-market video for Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. I am Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Here's a look at our pivotbossmasters.com/profits page here. Day 2 of live sessions begins today. The previous session here, introducing PivotBoss Thrust Reversal Pro. That was a fantastic session, a great turnout here for our PivotBoss Masters members. There's still time for you to join. All of the video here, the documents in terms of all the PDFs and the tools have been provided to the dashboard for our members. So if you jump in, you can jump right into the flow of our training for the week. You can visit pivotbossmasters.com/profits to be a part of this training. All right, let's take a look here at the daily time frame of the ES. One of the things we left our members with yesterday in our trading room was that today could be a thrust reversal Tuesday. That's this signal right here, and not coincidentally here, that signal is also what we're teaching in our PivotBoss Masters training this week. But we're teaching the pro version of this signal. This right here is our standard signal right there, and that opportunity has already played out with a huge outside day down. That was what we were cautioning about here after the bounce back on Monday, was how would price respond at this previous high. And as of right now, rejection has developed and back down. Now overall, the sell-off from Friday has been significant. The bounce back to the midpoint has been very rapid, and now we're sitting at the middle point between the extremes of Friday's range. So we could continue to see this type of price action over the course of the week, where we're back and forth near the center of this range, really the middle 50% of the range, which is 6606 to 6740, that zone right there. And if we get to an extreme, there could be a fade back into the range. So Friday's range right now really providing at least the early edges for the playing field right now. Any failure through 6600 really starts to open up at least an attempt at the prior lows. So right now stuck in the range here with some back and forth, and the potential here to see a little bit of a move back up today, but got to get through intraday VWAP. All right, looking at the NQ. Similar price action playing out already in the NQ. We were watching 25K for rejection heading into today for a shot back at the midpoint of the previous session. That's already played out, and perhaps a little more. And we've already seen that kind of play out. 540 points of range already. That's 140 to 141.5% of ADR. So it's already a huge day heading into the RTH Open. When that's the case, and you've already gone outside day early, then the range could be mostly in today, unless things are about to get really, really bad to the downside. So that means we could be bouncing back up within the range today, and again, staying mostly in the center portion of Friday's impulse sell-off. So if you look right there, that gray line, 25,080, the lower line here at about 24,465, that's your range. We can trade anywhere in here for a little while and kind of build some energy and digest after the recent sell-off, and we'll see how the thing materializes thereafter. All right, looking at crude oil, this one's down 2% here today and seeing quite the bit of weakness here lately. It finally filled our 5820 FOMC key level from May 7th. Again, that's a level that I thought was going to be hit after that rejection day there. It staved it off for quite a while, and it's been a long trip back to that level. Now, in getting to 58 from the 64 edge, you open the door to 54. You open the door to seeing a continuation into the next market structure level down. If we see 54s, perhaps there's a bounce that can play out off of that level there. But right now, working its way down within market structure. Again, highly bearish seasonal pattern for this market. We talked about the second week of October, beginning October 7th into 8th, 10th, etc. And we've seen weakness during that time already. But any bounce could be an opportunity to sell it within this bearish seasonal cycle. All right, looking at gold futures, this one's up 1/3 of 1%. Big time strength out of this one. New all-time highs, just shy of 4,200, 4,190 right now for gold on the new high. Currently trading 41.46, 108% of ADR right now as this markup phase continues to basically climb the wall here at a super intense pace, continuing to hold above the 8-period average, continuing to see new highs, and the pullbacks have been very modest pullbacks, sideways to down, and then we've seen explosive continuations. Ever since we pushed through that 4,000 level here, the expectation was that we're very strong, and this current wave of strength here could have more time associated to it because of the 5 months of buildup, and that could take us into 42.50. 42.50 almost looks like a given now. So again, any pullback here could lead to the next continuation up until proven otherwise. Looking at the YM, right now down about 0.5%. This one we were also looking for a thrust reversal today, which is the failed new high above a full-bodied high-range day here and a rejection that leads us back to the previous midpoint or beyond. And that's a tremendous reaction already. One of our favorite opportunities to look for ahead of time, so it gives us time to plan for. And the trap was great today. Nice rejection, lower highs, failure to hold the 46.4s, and now back into the range. But again, here's your middle portion right there between the extremes of Friday's impulse sell-off. We could trade anywhere in there right now, and that could play out over the next several days into the week. Basically, we could be trading the extremes into the end of the week within that range. And once we get out of that range, now we're testing a high or we're testing a low, which could then be faded back to the center portion of this range. So wide enough key range here to really kind of run the show for a little while. We'll continue to watch the boundaries of that range. Looking at Bitcoin, this one's down 3.9%. Now this is something we've talked about in our trading room. Watch the crypto market, specifically BTC and ETH. Those are going to tell us early if things are going to reject and how significantly. And if these really turn down heavily, that could also weigh heavily on the equity futures as well. Right now, that rejection at 125K is super legit. We called it first day, and this thing is now dropped across the larger range, which is a 20,000 point range. We're just off the lows of the 108s. What happens at 108? What happens at 105? Do we get a bounce back up within the range and see further development within this larger trading range? Odds favor yes, that we stay within the range. But you start to break back below 105 in a big way, now you're introducing some big time potential downside expansion with a target as low as 90,000. 90,000 based off the recent impulse move up, that 5, 6, 7 day rally. Pull back to the midpoint, that gave us a new key range. If we break down through 105s, it will open up the potential to go to 90K down below. All right, looking at ETH, this one down 6.5% today. A massive reversal after yesterday's bounce back day. That's a massive trap. That's a huge trap after yesterday's rally. To get this thing to wipe out, there's going to be MGR sell signal gaps here to the downside, midpoint gap reversal sell signals. This is huge. And we mentioned before, 4,300 was going to be very important. Could we recover 4,300 and get it going, or was it going to reject? If it rejects, it's going to put pressure on this low edge. And again, with this large key range, similar to the Bitcoin key range, that downside target, if we start breaking down through 3,600, the downside 100% target puts us in the 2,800 zone. So 2,800 just based off this recent key range. So big time key ranges here across the board for these markets, and we're going to continue to monitor those key levels as we move forward into Q4. All right, that is it for now. Again, please join us at pivotbossmasters.com/profits to be a part of our Pivot Boss Masters live sessions this week. Live training begins 8 a.m. Central this morning. Everyone have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you in the trader room. Take care.